kind of storm that doesn't come to destroy anything. It comes to finish something that already ended. This week, the sky is doing that. It's the wind that comes through after the fruit has ripened on the branch or ripened on the vine, just to shake loose what was never going to hold on forever anyway. So today I want to talk to you about what's being loosened in you right now and why this fogginess is a sign that something's wrong. It's a sign that the last thing standing between you and relief is about to happen or show up. Okay, so we have Mars square Neptune on Monday, the 17th of August, 2026. And let's start with this because this is why you might be feeling disoriented, discombobulated even. Okay, so on the 17th, Mars, the planet of will, of directness, of I want this and I'm going to move toward it and I'm going to fight for it, runs into a square with Neptune. And Neptune is the planet of dissolution and the higher octave of Venus. Neptune is all about creativity and dream, imagination, fantasy. So Neptune does not fight. Neptune dissolves. It doesn't meet your will with resistance. It just puts up this fog. I mean, I have this picture of, Mars, this warrior carrying a sword, rushing down a road that is, there's no visibility. It's just foggy. So he's thrusting the sword all over the place, but he can't see the target. So what are you trying to locate? What are you trying to protect yourself from? Like your usual instinct to act, to defend, to move. It's just not finding a target. It's not because your instincts are failing you. It's because whatever you are trying to brace yourself against or trying to defend doesn't have a clean edge right now. It's diffuse, right? Now, in depth psychology, we would say things like, this is a moment when the ego's usual tools like assessment and strategy and direct confrontation simply don't work, because what's actually happening is happening below the surface, below the waterline. Remember, Mars is in Cancer. He is in a watery sign. He is very emotional, very sensitive, but also, very sharp, can be quite cruel. So here's the thing worth sitting with. When Mars can't find a target, it's tempting to manufacture one. It's tempting to pick a fight. And I think you're probably already aware of this, of people trying to pick a fight, or maybe you trying to pick a fight, or you find yourself getting sharp with someone who didn't earn your your callousness or your cruelty, for want of a better word. And it's because you're mistaking your own internal weather for someone else's, right? So if this makes any sense, I gently ask you not to do that this week. Not because your feelings aren't real. Your feelings are legitimate. Your feelings are real. But the target actually isn't there. It isn't out there. And the fog that I'm speaking about here is not an external fog. It's internal. So the fog is in internal work that is disguised as an external threat. Do leave a comment if you are experiencing this. Okay, now next up, the same day, so Monday the 17th of August 2026, we have Mars sextile Uranus. Now, a sextile is a more harmonious aspect, and it's happening the same day that Mars is in this foggy, challenging conversation with Neptune. Now, Uranus doesn't do slow revelations. Uranus is the planet of lightning bolts, sudden awareness, disruption. So nothing slow about Uranus, which Mars likes because Mars is more comfortable with speed. So again, Uranus is this lightning strike, this sudden knowing. The thing that was invisible a moment ago is now simply, obviously, undeniably true. So you have this strange pairing happening at once. You have this confusion with Neptune and you have this clarity with Uranus. And if you've ever done real inner work, you'll know that these aren't actually opposites. They sequence. The fog doesn't clear because you worked harder to see through it. It clears because something usually embarrassingly simple breaks through. It's like, oh, there it is. Oh, it's that kind of reaction. This is what liberation actually feels like. Most of the time, when you feel liberated, when you feel free from something, from an old belief or from a psychological bond or something that you feel tied to because of expectations or cultural norms or, unspoken rules, it's not necessarily a triumphant unveiling. There's nothing triumphant about this particular aspect on Monday. But it is, again, I'm repeating myself, it's the sudden, small loosening of something inside you. It's the kind of thing that happens when a leaf that was already dead finally lets go of the branch. Not because the wind was super strong, but because the leaf had already stopped holding on. If you've ever, we're moving closer and closer to autumn, and you will know what I'm speaking about if you sit under a tree long enough to observe this, or, if you don't sit under a tree long enough to observe this, please do so. Beautiful lessons from nature. Okay, so I want you to notice this week where that might be happening to you, where something that is dead is still trying to hold on to that branch, but the time has come to let it go. So let that belief go. Let that person go. Let that expectation go, right? For example. Right? The insight that arrives this week is not going to come from thinking harder. It's just going to come suddenly in an unexpected way from someone saying something and passing to you, or a memory, possibly a memory, because Mars is in Cancer. Cancer is all about, memories, the past. Or a memory surfaces out of nowhere, or a moment where your body just releases something. I love bringing the body into this because everything is the body. The body speaks first. Okay, so something is ready to be released that your mind has still been gripping onto. Okay. Then we also have next week the Sun conjunct the South Node in Leo, crossing into Virgo. So on the 22nd, which is the same day that the Sun is going to enter Virgo, the Sun is going to be conjunct, sitting directly on top of the South Node. If you've been following along with the eclipse, that we just moved through, you will know that Leo season this year has been anything but quiet and subtle. It's been very loud. This Leo season has asked us to be seen, to take up space, to stop performing smallness, and to actually inhabit or own our own radiance. Hopefully in a way that is not harmful to others and is not judgmental. But anyway, that's Leo's whole architecture. It's one of sovereignty, of self-expression, and the willingness to be looked at without apologizing for it. But every season that opens a door eventually asks you to walk through it and then close it behind you. The South Node is the area of your chart of karmic residue. It's the well-worn groove. It's the thing that is so familiar because you've done it before, possibly for years, possibly for a lifetime, possibly for many lifetimes. And when the sun sits directly on it, right at the edge of Leo and right before Virgo begins, the question here isn't, what did I express this season? It's, what did I over-rely on, or whom did I over-rely on? To whom did I give authority? Out of habit, and I'm now that I'm allowed now to sit down. Okay, so whom have you given over your authority to, that the time has now come to say, okay, I'm setting I'm giving up on this. I'm no longer doing this. Okay. I can think of so many examples, but I'm going to leave that with you. This is where I think the deep work of this week actually lives. It's not going to actually be in that sudden clarity of, Uranus or the disorientation of Neptune. That's going to be helpful. But it's this moment on the threshold, because thresholds are where individuation and self-belonging actually happens, where we come back to ourselves. It's not in these dramatic moments. It's in those doorways between who you were performing and who you're being asked to refine into becoming or being. Because Virgo isn't asking you, when we're moving now into Virgo season, we aren't being asked to shrink our Leo radiance. We're asking to discern what is ours, to become more discerning, to stop needing every room that we walk into to witness us. It's not going to happen. I know from experience as well how frustrating it is. You want to walk into whatever room, an online space, for example, or an actual physical room, and you want people to drop everything and notice you and witness you and applaud. It's not going to happen. But that should not stop you from trusting that what you built, what you have been building, and what possibly you have already built, doesn't actually need an audience to be real. This is a lesson, by the way, that is so personal to me, that I hope that you will get out of this whole thing, because for years and years, I really struggled with this. I thought I had to have an audience applauding, or I had to have people witnessing me. And if you're wondering what the wound there is, it's the father wound. And if you subscribe to my Substack, or go check out my Substack, you will see that I wrote about the father wound. So go check that out. But anyway, you do not need an audience to somehow make it legitimate, whatever it is that you've created. Be assured that when you're creating from the heart, it does reach the people it needs to reach. So if Leo is all about being seen, Virgo says, now I want you to be precise about what is actually yours to carry forward into Virgo season. And it's not somehow a failure if you realize you have to let go of certain things, certain aspects of your business, or your like, say if you're an entrepreneur and you had certain ideas and you realize, well, actually these aren't heart, they're not coming from a heart, they're not heart led, they are not I've compromised my values somehow, then this is the time to let that go. But not only in that sense, also to do with people, also to do with beliefs, even character traits. Now is the time to mature. Now is the time to acknowledge or recognize the difference between the persona that you needed to inhabit to survive a chapter of your life, and the self, the real self that is left standing in front of you, the real self that is standing once the chapter has been done, asking new things of you. Okay, let me know if this is making sense, if it's ringing true. Right, so I want to bring this out of the abstract for a second here, because I know some of you are feeling this less as an idea and more of a physical state. And I have touched a lot on our bodies lately in my recent videos, because there's a lot that is being, it's a difficult word. I don't know what the right word here is. I'm going to say activated, not necessarily impacted, more activated. It's if you've been feeling foggy or without direction, or maybe even a little grief adjacent without a clear object for the grief. There's a lot of grief. There's always grief. You know, to live is to grieve. This is just how, we grieve. And many of us are grieving without realizing we are grieving, because we think that we have to grieve only a person. For example, if a loved one passes away, then we think, okay, well, that's when we grieve, that's grieving, and we're going to grieve. But we actually grieve so much. We grieve the end of a chapter, the end of an experience, a job, the end of a career that we loved. You are welcome to leave a comment as to other ways that you recognize you're grieving. We also grieve for the talents, and this is very much, to do with Leo. We also grieve the creative abilities and the talents that we have not got to express, or we gave up on before we gave them a real chance. If that is the case for you, if you're grieving something where you were attempting to be creative, maybe you tried to be a musician, or you tried to be a artist or an actor, whatever the case may be, and you apparently failed, do know that it's not too late. You can still try again, but perhaps this is where all this astrology of this week is coming in. Perhaps you have to realize that you have to let go of a certain idea around what success looks like for you when it comes to that creative ability, right? Okay, moving on, because I think I waffled on here too long. So you are right now in this gap, this doorway between an old identity that is loosening its grip and a new posture that has not yet fully arrived. And your body is aware of this. Okay. So you don't have to rush yourself into the next room. This week, please do not rush into anything. We are between eclipses, right? There's another eclipse on this 27th. But do know that the leaves that are ready to fall will fall on their own timing, usually when you least expect it, and with far less effort than you're currently spending trying to force them to fall. So what I'm going to ask of you this week isn't to rush or to solve anything, but it's to notice what you're still holding onto out of habit rather than truth. And not with judgment, but with the same gentleness you'd offer a tree in autumn, as I mentioned earlier. You are not going to go up to this tree and shake it. This is Superman or something, right? You're just going to trust that the leaf is going to fall at the right time. Exactly on time, right? Everything's happening exactly on time. Now, if this is the kind of threshold that you are experiencing, do know that I sit with my clients and I help them see clearly what is being asked of them to release, to let go. And if that's where you are right now, My readings are linked in the description box, so check that out. So before I leave you, somewhere this week you are going to feel a fog, a lack of clarity that you can't quite name. And right alongside this fogginess, you're also going to have a flash of insight, a sudden insight with startling clarity. This is the wonder of the universe we're living in. Don't fight the fog for taking too long, and don't distrust clarity for arriving too fast, is literally what it's saying. Because they are not contradictions. We can hold contradictions, people. This is this is how the universe functions. It's a universe of paradox, of contradiction. They are actually the same process, but seen from two different angles. And underneath both of them is a threshold, a closing of a season that asks you to be radiant, and the opening of one that's asking you to be more discerning about what it's actually going to cost you to maintain that radiance. So let go of what has already finished. It's going to leave anyway. You know that something is done. You know that it's over. So the only question is really whether you are going to make it harder than it needs to be. Thank you for watching. Do know I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one.